to these stories, he ought to step aside. And now.
It's a devastating, nasty story. If the revelations, if that's true, I don't believe there'd be any place for him in the U.S. Senate.
Of course, those are members of Congress responding to allegations that Alabama Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore actually propositioned several underage girls dating back decades ago. Leigh Corfman said that when she was 14 years old in 1979, the then 32-year-old Moore was working at the Alabama DA's office. He made sexual advances towards her. She says he approached her at the courthouse, got her number, and days later picked her up and brought her to his home. She told the Washington Post on the record that the first visit consisted of compliments and kisses, but during the second visit, Moore removed her clothes and his and guided her hands to touch him. 3 other women claim Moore made advances at them when they were between the ages of 16 and 18 and gave them alcohol. Now, the 70-year-old Moore, a former Alabama state judge and art conservative, he blasted the Washington Post reporting this, but in his statement, he has not denied the claims. This has led to massive upheaval. Number of Republicans yesterday, Senator John McCain and others, were condemning him, but very quiet, white conservative evangelicals. Roy Moore's base. Joining us, Dr. Joe Reed, chairman of the Alabama Democratic Conference. Obviously, Doug Jones, the Democratic nominee for United States Senate, has not said anything about this to my knowledge, Joe. But how is this playing in Alabama? Are you hearing the white conservative evangelical base there say anything about him? We know what the state auditor has said when pretty much he said that, well, you know, Mary was an underage girl and Joseph was an adult and he got her pregnant. I guess he missed that part, the Immaculate Conception. But go right ahead, Joe.
Well, first of all, I think that Moore should step aside, but Moore is not going to do that. He is known for defying and picking fights, and every opportunity he gets, he starts one. For an example, he's been impeached twice, and that usually would impeach being removed from office from the Alabama Supreme Court. So by any measuring stick, he should not be allowed to serve. And if he gets elected, which I don't put past some of these folk in Alabama who voted for him, if he gets elected, the Senate should not seat him. They should deny him his seat. Now, in Alabama, I don't put it past these voters to put him in. These are the same voters who voted for Trump. And Trump had said and had done a lot of things, at least he was accused of them, and some he admitted to. Yet the people in Alabama gave him a big vote.
Do you believe, Joe, do you believe that Republicans in Alabama, if Roy Moore does not drop out, do you believe that they still are going to vote for Roy Moore and elect him? I think they will.
Yes, sir. That's my concern, is that they will see this as another act of defiance to get the federal government and to get those Yankees and to get those liberals and to get those blacks off our back. And I wouldn't be surprised at all. And he is not going to step down. He's just not going to do that. That's not his way. That's not his method. So I'm not satisfied at all that Moore, if they can elect him, now, he may lose a few votes. But in terms of what he's done, Moore will get a referendum in his favor for most of these voters in Alabama. Alabama gave Barack Obama and gave Hillary Clinton some of the fewest votes in any other state. And we just happen to be a state where a majority of the voters tend to want to defy. We want to show them.
Right.
And that's what I'm afraid of. And that so people can't expect Moore to step aside, and they can't expect the people in Alabama to reject him.
All right. Joe Reed, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Karen, look, what you have here is, it's interesting what Moore did was, He doesn't deny it. He sends a letter that was sent to him from Washington Post to Breitbart. They write a story condemning the Washington Post. I've yet to actually see a statement where Roy Moore has denied these allegations. He's called them a liberal attack. He's fundraising off of them. He has not issued a denial.
First of all, he's going to have to step forward in the next couple of days. This is brilliant reporting by the Washington Post with 30 sources. 30 sources. So are 30 people lying compared to one person, which is Roy Moore? We are in unprecedented territory because we are talking about pedophilia.
And we got somebody who is on the record. So this is not
on the record.
Anonymous allegation.
Not anonymous. And I applaud Senator John McCain yesterday for saying what everyone is saying, which is if these allegations are true, he has to step aside. And I read last night that Lisa Murkowski from Alaska is already asking the question that perhaps Luther Strange needs to go ahead and run as a write-in, as an independent in this runoff, because this as soon as he is seated, there will be an investigation in the Senate. That has to happen. So if he wins this election, there will be an immediate investigation in the U.S.
Well,
Senate.
first of all, Article 1, Section 5 says that the Senate decides who they seat, so they can actually refuse to seat him. We saw the exact same thing with Roland Burrs, the whole deal with Governor Rob Blagojevich over the appointment to replace then President Barack Obama, his Senate seat. Here's a statement from the Roy Moore campaign. I want to read that for you. Judge Roy Moore has endured the most outlandish attacks on any candidate in the modern political arena. But this story in today's Washington Post alleging sexual impropriety takes the cake. National liberal organizations know their chosen candidate, Doug Jones, is in a death spiral, and this is their last-ditch Hail Mary. I still haven't heard a denial from Roy Moore.
No
denial.
And that's striking. There are reasons for Roy Moore not to be the Republican nominee long before this came out, and I did not support him during the primary. And this coming out, I know in the media sometimes we, guilty before proven innocent, but like you said, 30 sources. Looking at his statement, he hasn't said anything. That's why you see a rush of Republicans coming out and saying that he should.
And if you watched Fox News last night, oh my God! I mean, Tucker Carlson touched this for 46 seconds, and Sean Hannity just went on and on and on. But again, but they did numerous segments on Harvey Weinstein. And so what's amazing to me is here's a guy who moralizes from office, of course, who was kicked out of office because he wanted to leave up a 10 Commandments monument in the courthouse. But again, Roy Moore has not said, I categorically deny every single one of these allegations. No, he's blaming the liberals, he's blaming the Washington Post. And so if you can't deny this,
And I would say he's, saying that it's a media story. I think the media has been aggressive on both sides in calling out. Anthony Weiner just went to prison this week for it. So I don't think, that excuse that it's the liberal media quite has passed enough test in this one. I will say also about the fact about the Senate, the race coming up. There has not been a Democrat elected in Alabama since 1996. And as you know, now that the primary is about a month away, they can't change his name off the ballot.
No,
so
can't take it off.
If he was to withdraw, his name will still be there. People will still vote Republican. And it's just, it's definitely an issue for our
But
party.
again, even if he is elected, the United States Senate does not have to seat him. And if they reject it, then the governor of Alabama simply makes the appointment who is a Republican.
There has to be an investigation, trial, that
so
stuff,
Republican still holds a seat.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh, my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
News One Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.